Hey, what's up? So in this video, I want to go over my approach to SEO as a SaaS founder. And if you don't know, I've founded multiple software businesses in the past. Here's some proof, the money we made. I sold this one last year. I'm now focusing on this one full-time right now to grow it as fast as I can. And for the past few months, our main growth strategy was social media. Twitter, YouTube, maybe a bit of TikTok, but SEO is free traffic, right? If you can rank your site number one on Google, number one on Bing, and honestly right now with LLMs, number one on ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, all these AI-based search engines, right? You get traffic for free forever. It's evergreen. While on social media, for example, you make a tweet, goes viral, you get a bunch of signups, but then you have to craft another viral tweet over and over again, and you're at the mercy of these algorithms to take your post viral. A video, a tweet, an IG Reels, doesn't matter. And so we wanted to build a more sustainable source of traffic. And SEO is one of the most reliable ones, because how often do search engine results change, right? Not often, right? If you search for something on Google, right, the top 10 search results for whichever keywords you're searching for are the same for months, maybe even years. And so with that out of the way, what's my SEO strategy? Let's just jump straight to my computer so I can show you step by step how we're raking in traffic and making a lot of money through search engines. Let's go. All right, we're here. We have a lot to cover, so let's just get going. SaaS SEO strategy. And I want to start with a couple of examples because I think before I show you the boring stuff and the tangible stuff, I think it's important that I show you some successful businesses leveraging SEO to drive traffic in an insanely manner to their businesses. So I want to start with a few examples and then we'll go from there. First one is Veed. Pretty much what they do is think about Photoshop, but for video, or Canva, but for video, right? They have this video editing tool that does a bunch of stuff, right? You can add subtitles, you can transform photos to videos, you can change the audio up, you can add, remove the background, text to speech, any little feature you can think about when you're editing a video, okay? Cropping, etc. Their software does it, okay? So their SaaS, which is priced in this much, right, allows you to do video editing, okay? And what to do in terms of SEO is insane. So this Veed.io /tools, okay, which hopefully you can see the URL, is just a directory for all their tools. And if you click any of these, right, all these pages are the exact same. Page 1, paragraph, call to action, image, and then how it works. Every single one of these is the exact same. It's the exact same thing. The page 1 is the keyword, right? And all of them are the exact same thing. Add subtitles to video. Then this page ranks for a bunch of these related keywords. Let me show you an example, okay? /tools. And if you go here, organic keywords, not only does this get 23,000 people every single month, but it ranks for add subtitles to videos. This is weird. Captions, add captions to video, Veed.io. This is very weird. I don't know why. Interesting search term right here. Regardless, I mean, it ranks for a bunch of relevant keywords for adding subtitles to videos because that's exactly what this tool does. But the most interesting thing right here is if you just remove this and go to /tools, right? The /tool pages gets 2 million. So if you combine the traffic that all these tool pages get, right? Because all these are under the /tools URL, these get a combined 2 million in monthly organic visits every single month, okay? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And all this is, quote unquote, all this is just they take all the features that their SaaS does, they create a bunch of pages, right, that talk about each one of the features, right? And that's it. Of course, they optimize it properly, and all these pages are the exact same thing. And going for a bit of a smaller scale example, in our software, we do the exact same thing. We have all these features, okay? We have less features, of course, but all the pages are the same. Page 1, video, page 1, not this one, but page 1, call to action video, right, what it does. Page 1, call to action, what it does. So all these are pretty much the same thing, okay? So if you have a SaaS, first things first, you should convert all the features you have into feature pages to some extent. And again, no need to reinvent the wheel. Again, these are all the same. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but these are all the same. And because they are properly optimized, they're targeting a industry with a lot of search volume, well, 2 million. And by the way, all this is if you click here, and if you don't click add to use the tool, they just send you inside of the software, okay? So there's not even like these free tools. Oftentimes what happens is that the SaaSes have a lot of these free tools, okay? And they link you to the actual free tool. Here, no, they are just the feature pages, literally feature pages, which regardless of which one you choose, they always send you here. They always send you to the product, okay? And this is the freemium version of that product, okay? So that's the very first one. Then the second one I want to look at is Canva. I'm sure you guys know Canva, okay? Canva is like the Photoshop, but online. I use it. I have a paid subscription. I don't think on this account, but I do have it. Canva is the same thing. If you go to Canva slash, I think it's templates, okay? Canva slash templates. Well, let me just open it in an incognito window so you guys can see what I mean. These are the same as you just saw with Veed, right? All the same thing. So if I click here, open this up, right? Sitemap, whiteboard, in green, purple, basic style. So all these, let me just go here to whiteboard, okay? Whiteboard templates, okay? If I go here, whiteboard tool, right? I can open more here. Let's see here. Let me just open a few more right here. What's this? Presentations, logos. I mean, I can open them over and over again, right? Presentations, templates, boom. So they all have this exact same thing. And if we go here to copy this URL, slash templates, okay, we just plug it into Ahrefs, we can see the immense amount of traffic they have as well. 4 million every single month. And the premise is the exact same. In Canva, you can use it as Photoshop, right? And what do they think? Okay, you can use Canva just like Photoshop to create presentations, to create like Instagram posts, to design YouTube thumbnails. So they took all of these little features you could do, right? And created pages for each one of them. Just like in Veed, they create feature pages, okay? Just like you saw here. And then they aggregate them all in this slash tools where you can see all the tools. Canva does the exact same thing. And you can see the immense success here. I'm going to go here to top pages as well so you guys can see what the pages are. So canva.com/templates /Eddie Mubarak /birthday templates, wedding templates, portfolio wallpapers, company templates, newspaper, vision boards. I mean, it's insane. You can check this for yourself. Point being here is that I want to show you what these guys are doing in terms of their SEO strategy. And don't think it's just templates, okay? Let's take a look at Thinkific. So Thinkific, all they do, quote unquote, all they do, is they're a platform where if you sell online courses, you can host them here, okay? There's a bunch of them. There's Kajabi, there's a lot of them, okay? Mega successful, millions in monthly revenue. I mean, they're very successful. And again, part of the way in which they drive traffic to their business is through SEO. And one of the things you do is comparison pages, okay? So them versus competitor. And they have a bunch of these pages where the only thing that changes is the name of the competitor, okay? If we just zoom out, this is again just a page, H1, them versus the competitor, which one's right for you, paragraph, call to action, little image, then a table comparing the two, comparing the features, comparing the prices, like a simple comparison page, right? And if I go here to, let me just say versus, let's try Teachable, which is a competitor there. Surely they have a page for it. There you go. Again, the page is the exact same thing. Okay, of course, the endpoint here changes because they're comparing two different tools, but the layout, similar to what Veed does, similar to what Canva does, is the exact same thing. These are comparison pages. Now, why are these valuable? Well, because they rank for a bunch of bottom of the funnel keywords. By bottom of the funnel, I mean keywords that are closest to the buying journey. So when you have a funnel, top of the funnel keywords, so TOEFL keywords would be stuff like how to host an online course online, or which platforms should I use to host an online course. They are here at top of the funnel because people are still looking for the platforms. Bottom of the funnel, BOFU, right? If someone's searching for Thinkific alternative or Thinkific versus Teachable, well, they have a course, right? They're looking to host it somewhere. They know two of the companies that can do it, and they're looking to see which one's the best to probably buy one. So they're much more down here at the bottom of the funnel. Now, there's even more bottom further out of the funnel, but this is just an example of what it means to be top of the funnel and bottom of the funnel. Okay. Point being is that pages like this that target both of these, look at the keywords they're relevant for. Let me go here, organic keywords. Okay. Let's see. Thinkific that's Teachable versus Teachable versus Teachable. Let me see here what else we have. Price, Thinkific price, SSO Teachable. So it's all about the being bottom of the funnel, better than Teachable, right? So pricing Teachable, Teachable support. So even though this page is for Thinkific, so Thinkific is the business writing this page ranks for the competitors' keywords. So this page, again, this is written by Thinkific. This is on thinkific.com. And this page, because it's so well optimized, has so in-depth info, it ranks for Teachable support or pricing for Teachable. Okay, keywords that Teachable would want to rank for, but now we are stealing their traffic. Okay, and this again might not be the greatest example because these don't have much traffic right here. Let's give this one a go. to see if there's a bit more traffic for these ones. There you go, Kajabi versus. Let's see what else we have here. Kajabi learning platform. So Kajabi app. Point being is that these pages, because they are so in depth, right? Not only do they rank for keywords which are highly valuable, one versus the other, but they tend to rank for keywords that their own competitors wish they ranked for. So versus page, so comparison page, alternative pages, which is something we do as well. I'll show you here more examples. Because again, I want to be tangible with this, but just scroll down here, open this up. Just open this up right here. This is a comparison page. Okay, we compare ourselves with a competitor, right? And we have a video, a comparison table, right? Proper info going over both, and we rank on Google for this. Now, I'll talk about ChatGPT and other LLMs in a bit because it's also important to be mentioned on ChatGPT, but I'll cover that later on. Point being is that we also do this. Now, these are the comparison pages. We can also do what we call alternative pages. So let me just go here and just look for one. There you go. For example, this one, 10 best ghostwriter AI alternatives. This is a competitor of ours, right? So what we did was, okay, this is a competitor of ours. We want to make sure that we can capture the traffic from people who use this product, right, and are actively looking for alternatives. So we made a blog post, a page targeting these keywords. So we target, okay, what is ghostwriter AI? What is our competitor? What is the pricing of our competitor? What do they do? So this first introduction allows us to one-up them to some extent, allows us to rank for their own keywords. So this post, I'm not sure if it does or not, but some of ours rank for competitor name, pricing, competitor name, features. Why? Because we talk about them extensively. And I'll show you the best example of this, which is PayPal and TransferWise in a bit. But then we talk about the alternatives. So point being is that you got to produce both comparison pages and alternative pages. And I do want to show you what I just mentioned about Wise and PayPal, which is where what I just showed you on the blog is where we're talking about our own competitor keywords. And so someone that does this very well is Wise. Okay, you guys all know PayPal. Okay, Wise is also called TransferWise. Okay, it used to be called TransferWise. It's an online bank. Okay, that's all it is. And what they do is, because one of our competitors is PayPal, okay, what they do is they produce content about PayPal. And that might seem like weird. Why would Wise, a competitor of PayPal, be helping PayPal producing valuable content about them? So that Wise produces blog posts about PayPal's fees, PayPal's pricing, why you should use PayPal, why PayPal is great. Why are they doing this? Well, it's because by doing this, they become hyper relevant for keywords PayPal's current customers, are searching for. And then they just do a call to action to PayPal, to Wise. Let me show you an example. Go here to Ahrefs, put in wise.com. Go to organic keywords and see. First of all, they got an insane amount of traffic, 87.5 million in monthly organic search traffic. Okay, but let's go here to organic keywords. Now, some of these, let me just sort by PayPal so it's easier because they do rank for a bunch of stuff. Keyword contains PayPal. Apply. And they don't just do this for PayPal. They do it for all their competitors. There you go. They rank first for a keyword with 8,221 in monthly organic search traffic. Excuse me, 4.2K, but they get 8,000, okay, which is PayPal's fees calculator. So this page right here, which is a simple calculator, which ranks for a bunch of other keywords, which I want to show you right here, right? What do you think people going to this page, right, PayPal fee calculator, who search for these keywords, PayPal calculator, PayPal's fees UK, people searching for this, well, they use PayPal, or most likely they want to use it. And so what Wise has right here is a simple calculator, age one, PayPal fee calculator. There's a calculator. You can do this with ChatGPT nowadays. Like, it's pretty simple to build a calculator, right? They talk about, right, PayPal fees, what they are. They have in-depth information. Honestly, I've used PayPal, and PayPal tends to hide this information. If you go on PayPal's site, it's very hard to find proper information about PayPal. So this is very well done. It's also part of the reason why it ranks first. It ranks above PayPal, right? It ranks above PayPal. So it's super in-depth, super valuable content. And of course, in the end, they say, hey, listen, yeah, you can use PayPal or you can just use Wise to save a bunch of money with us because we're cheaper than PayPal. And they do this for a bunch of keywords, a bunch of PayPal's keywords. PayPal, Gcash, let me see more. Let me just search for the ones in the US because I think it's easier. Boom, boom. How does PayPal work? PayPal friends and family fee. Can I use PayPal on Amazon? It's insane. Wise is producing content about PayPal's topics better than PayPal itself. And yes, it might seem weird, but no, it's good because then PayPal's users, instead of going to PayPal's site, well, they go to Wise's site, they get great information, and some of them get think, okay, why would I use PayPal when Wise is telling me all this information? Even if I use Wise, it's cheaper. So they get introduced to Wise's brand. So producing content about your competitors. And so we have all these right here. I know it took me a while to cover all these examples, but these examples are tangible examples, and all these businesses are growing through search traffic, okay? It's about creating these tool pages, which don't necessarily need to be free tools. You can just use the pages as like a gateway page to drive traffic to your main tool, right? Canva, Thinkific, writing comparison pages, writing alternative pages. Wise and PayPal, writing content about each other's competitors, okay? Hopefully this long intro gave you a sense of what you can do, right? What you can do with SEO, what you can do with search engine optimization. Okay, so now with that intro out of the way, here's what we're going to be using for driving traffic. We're going to be using these search engines, not YouTube. Forget YouTube. This is a mistake here. We're going to be using Google and Bing and LLMs. LLMs are just ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, any other LLM you use like on a daily basis that's behind the user interface product like ChatGPT, we're going to be using. And you'll notice that all this is tied in together, okay? Now, we're going to be optimizing our results to show up first, right, through search engine optimization. That's obvious, okay? Now, here's what we're going to do for Google and Bing, and what we do and what I think you should be doing, okay? First, as I mentioned before in some of these examples, right, we're going to create 3 types of pages. And these 3 types of pages, our goal is to have them rank for high buying intent keywords automatically. So what do I mean by high buying intent keywords? Well, the perfect keyword you can rank for, okay, is one that has low competition and it's hyper buyer aware, okay? And I always give the example of this. Let's say I have an iPhone repair shop. I know this is not about software, but let's say I have an iPhone repair shop. Okay, people come into my shop. Before they come into the shop, of course, they have to come first into my website, okay? Website to the shop. Now, our site can rank for a bunch of keywords. It can rank for keywords like where to repair an iPhone, or how much does it cost to repair an iPhone, or for keywords like how to repair an iPhone. Now, let's say the keyword how has 10,000 searches a month, okay? But some of these 2 keywords, the search volume they get every single month is just 1,000. Now, it might be more attractive to rank for this one because the search volume is higher, but this is a mistake because you should not be focusing on traffic. Traffic is a vanity metric. You want to be focusing on buying intent. And this is the perfect example. Why? Because someone's searching for how. Well, most likely they want to do it themselves. While someone's searching for where or how much, well, most likely they want to pay someone to do it for them. They're looking for a place where or how much. They're looking for a quote. So this is the best way in which I can explain this to you. So going for buyer aware, going for buying intent. Here's an example. Let's say Webflow alternative. Let's say you've built a SaaS that's similar to Webflow. You want to rank for keywords like Webflow alternative, cheaper, so modifier, Webflow alternative, modifier, Webflow alternative, Webflow versus WordPress. So not even you versus them, Webflow versus a competitor, and then you compare them both and say, hey, listen, they're great, but here's a third option that can be better, which is our software, right? Or for example, is Webflow better than WordPress? Right? You can replace this WordPress by all of the competitors that are out there. Right? You can have hundreds of pages like this, just like I showed you with Thinkific before. All the pages are the same. The one thing that changes is the name of the brand, and of course some of the context. Okay, competitor versus competitor, you versus a competitor, right? I mean, it's infinite. Pricing, so you're targeting your competitor's own keywords, just like Wise is doing, okay, with the PayPal thing. Does Webflow allow you to XYZ? So look for features Webflow doesn't have, people might be searching for, and then you say, hey, listen, it doesn't, but we do it, right? How to do XYZ in Webflow. So all these are very bottom of the funnel keywords. It's targeting competitors. So you target your own competitors' branded keywords, which gets you an aware market, right? Because if they're aware of your competitors, they're aware of the pain point with the buying intent, as well as low keyword difficulty keywords, because usually specific questions about the products that exist out there usually have low search volume, usually, okay? But again, don't necessarily look at the traffic, look at the buying intent. Now, again, going back to this, we're going to be creating 3 types of pages, which I'll go over in a bit, okay? And we covered high buying intent keywords. Now I want to cover out the automatically part, because when you create these pages the right way, they'll rank almost instantaneously due to the low search volume. Because a lot of these keywords will have low search volume, meaning low competition, they're going to be easier to rank. Okay, so people think, yeah, with low search volume, nobody's going to buy. No. Even if there's only one person in the world every single year searching for, I want to buy a robot right now that does backflips, please ship it to my house in 24 hours, right? That person really wants to buy the robot right now. And if the robot costs like 10K, well, you're guaranteed to make another extra 10K every single year. Bit of a weird example, but hopefully that made sense. Okay. And then you want to also create and embed interactive dynamic tools like the one we just saw with PayPal. But let's firstly cover the 3 pages, which we've talked a bit about in the examples above. So the classic comparison pages, okay? You versus them, or them versus them, or them versus you, as I said. So what you want to do here is optimize for your competitors' brand names, their info and features. So talk about their pricing. Talk about all their features. Talk about what they do, what they don't do. Don't hide a single thing. Your whole goal is to make this comparison page super valuable, both for the user that's reading it, as well as for the search engine. Because if you talk about your competitors so well, if you're very granular, you explain every single thing your competitor does, their pricing, their credit system, how they work, etc. Well, that page is going to become hyper relevant for your own competitors' keywords, thus even sometimes outranking your own competitors for their keywords. Okay. And I mean, these pages are pretty simple, right? They cover what competitor 1 is, what competitor 2 is, and a comparison between both. And you saw some examples of how we do it in Arvow, right? You saw some examples of how Thinkific does it. And this is a best practice. I'm not saying this is amazing. It could be a lot better. There's no images. There's nothing here. But this is an industry standard, right? Doing these comparison pages. But they have to be good, okay? And if you can embed the video of you going over one tool and the other and talking about it, even better. That's like going the extra mile, because nobody does this because it takes a lot of work, okay? So that's the very first thing. Comparison pages. Compare you with them and them with them, okay? And there's, I mean, just off of this, if you have a SaaS, you can spin up 50 to 100 pages like this, okay? And capture a lot of search market just like that. If you start doing this today, right, you can do a lot of stuff right here. And by the way, quick plug, you can use Arvow to do it. So Arvow is, we allow you to write content, right? Optimize the content. We even have this AI agent that jumps onto your site and fixes all the technical SEO stuff right here. And you can use Arvow to generate these comparison pages, okay? Which is pretty cool. I'll leave a link down below for a tutorial on it, because you can just use what we call custom templates, which basically allow you to customize how a template is going to be. So article templates, create custom template. You can even add variables. So let's say your age one is Arvow versus competitor. Okay, this is the age one. Okay, and then you want to write a paragraph, right? Talk about a short intro about both, right? And then you want to have an H2, or then you have a table, compare Arvow versus competitor. And so anytime there's this little curly brackets plus competitor, because I'm not going to dive deep into how this works. You basically feed our AI with a list, okay? A list of your competitors, okay? And Excel sheet or Google Sheets, and you feed it into the AI, right? And on the templates, anytime it's mentioned competitor, right, it will swap out the name, the variable competitor, with one of the names from the list. And so you're able to mass produce all these comparison pages, right? Again, if you want to learn how this works, I'll leave a link down below. It's pretty cool to do all these comparison pages, alternative pages, like super quickly. Just one note, AI isn't magic. Anything our AI tool does, Arvow, you can do manually. The thing about AI is that it just saves you a bunch of time. Okay, then the alternative pages. That's the second type of page you want to be producing, alternative pages. Because while these ones, the comparison pages, are relevant for keywords like this versus that, right? These ones are for people actively looking for alternatives which have some pain points associated with it. Okay, so competitor name alternative. You even want to produce you alternative. Here's how these guys, chat-based, are doing it. Chat-based alternative. If you search up for chat-based alternative, of course, there's the ads, okay? But the ads ranking first are chat-based itself. They give you 21 chat-based alternatives, okay? Again, they don't even mention themselves. Usually what happens is that the first is them, but they don't even mention themselves. And so you're being introduced to their brand. It's a bit weird if you think about it, because someone looking for chat-based alternatives, most likely they've used chat-based, or they've wanted to use it, but it's too expensive, or maybe it's lacking one of the features. And so they're typing on Google looking for an alternative, and they're going to chat-based itself. So it's weird, but you get the point. You can capture some search traffic like this, okay? And maybe even if after reading all this, if you read all through the 21 and there's none of them that actually satisfy your needs, maybe you'll go on to chat-based, or maybe they offer you a coupon code right here. So point being is that you should also be producing alternatives to your own brand, because it's an opportunity for you to rank above, because your competitors will be producing alternative pages to you, just like you're doing here, just like you're producing competitor name alternative, well, your competitors are also going to be doing that stuff as well to steal the traffic from you. So if you can just do it yourself alternative and rank above any of your competitors doing this, well, it's a good thing to just not send traffic to them, okay? And then, of course, optimize for alternative search terms, right? What the page goes over, well, what competitor one is, and then in-depth alternatives of all the competitors. That's basically it. And that's what we do as well here. Again, I showed you before, right? Competitor alternatives. We talk extensively about the competitor to make sure that this page is highly relevant for them. Is there a free plan? How much does it cost, etc.? And then we give them the alternatives, which, of course, the first one is ours, okay? And again, there's a lot of pages you can produce with this, because if you have a SaaS, most likely you have like a handful of competitors. So there's a bunch of these pages you can make. So comparison pages and then alternative pages. Okay. For example, right here, you can do some of the keywords, some of these, how do you optimize for alternative search terms? Well, Slack alternative, Slack for XYZ business. So you can niche it down. Slack for plastic surgeons, Slack for lawyer, Slack for, I don't know, karting business. I don't know, man. You get the point. So you can niche down with modifiers. It doesn't just have to be this, right? It can be this for specific niche, this for Asians, this for, I don't know, man. You get the point, right? Or a modifier for the feature. So cheaper, faster. Okay, you get the point. So there's a bunch of keywords you can use to optimize these pages for that. And then simply informational pages, right, about your competition. Okay, optimize for competitors' informational content, meaning keywords who their current customers are already searching for, which is sort of what Wise does as well, okay? And what the pages cover essentially is information existing customers search for on Google, right? For example, Wise with PayPal info. They outrank PayPal and even Revolut for questions about their own platforms. For example, how to cancel my Slack subscription, okay? Well, of course, Slack in itself has like how to cancel it, but all these guys, what they're doing is trying to steal Slack's traffic. Hey, here's how you cancel it, and here's what you should use instead. And for this keyword, surely Slack ranks above it, but I'm sure there's a bunch of variations of this keyword. Well, these guys rank above Slack, okay? So a point being is that produce informational content about your competitors that's more valuable than the content themselves are actually putting out, okay? And I could just end the video here. And I think this is mega valuable. Again, I'm of course 100% biased, but I think this is mega valuable. Just producing these 3 pages would give you an insane edge, and it would get you some traffic getting started. I mean, a lot of traffic sent to your site from a Google search. So that's that's the second part of this video, which hopefully was valuable so far. And by the way, if you could do me a huge favor and comment the word SaaS SEO in the comments, that'll be amazing, because YouTube's most valuable thing is not likes, it's not subscribers, it's comments. So if you can help me out and have this video pushed out to more people by the YouTube algorithm gods by commenting the words SaaS SEO, that'd be amazing. I'll be very thankful if you could do it, please. If you could do it for me, please. And yeah, let's move on. And so now talking about the second point right here, which is create and embed interactive dynamic tools. Here's what I mean by this. When I say dynamic tools, I say tool recommendations based on your niche. So mortgage calculators, meal plan makers, car financing helpers, stock picking tips, right? Just like, again, with Wise, we have this little tool. Again, this is not hard to make, right? Of course, it's connected to a database, which has all this stuff right here, and this interactive thing, but it's not hard to make. And the value this has is insane, right? It's an interactive tool that gives them what they need quick, right? Because this could easily be displayed on a table. But on a table would be very hard, because we have a column with rows with all the countries, then columns with all the where you're sending it to, the fees. It would be insane, right? Well, what's the easiest way to do this? Well, it's like with a little calculator. Okay, here's an example in a different niche. For example, AI plagiarism checker, right? Let's see here. Let's go past the ads. There you go. A free tool. You just paste the text right here. Okay, paste it in here, right? Surely, we just do this right here, paste all this stuff in here, detect text, right? And all it's going to happen is that it's going to give me yes or no, and then a call to action to their business. That's basically what's going to happen, okay? These are little small free tools, okay? Boom, zero, GPT, whatever, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Where's the call to action? I mean, there's not even a call to action right here. But I'm sure this gets a ton of traffic. Let me just paste it in here. So the site as a whole gets, let's see, 6.9 million every single month. But I do want to see like, anyway, AI detector, AI checker, AI detector. So, I mean, this is insane. The volume these keywords have and the positions they rank for. So, I mean, AI detector, AI checker, AI detector, and they're sending them to this little free tool right here again, which is honestly, I think it's BS. I think I talked about this before, but I think just checking for AI is BS because Google doesn't care if your content is AI or not, right? They only care if the content is valuable for the end user. So it can be a human writing, it can be a dog, it can be a robot, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that, okay, is this content valuable? Is it satisfying the user's search intent? If so, then Google doesn't care, right? If it's AI or not. But regardless, people still seem to care clearly for the search volume. But point being is that they rank first for in there. They actually have this little free tool, and you can extrapolate this and apply it to your own niche. Now, again, I don't want to sell you on this too much, but you can use a tool like Arvow. It allows you to create these little lead magnets, little tools. For example, let's say I'm a dealership in Texas. Okay, I just take this, I embed this little tool onto my site, which is a little thing. Again, I can put this on my homepage. I can put this on my where I list all my cars page. I can put this on my contacts page, right? And all this is a tool based off of this prompt. Okay, and what it does is, should I finance my car? Well, let's say the car I want costs 160K, I have 80K in savings, I get paid 2K a month, etc. Should I finance my car? And the reply is going to be based off of this. Tell the user if they should finance a car they want to buy based on their input. Tell them yes every time and recommend they do the financing with my brand called Car Financing 101. There you go. Yes, you should finance your car, etc. Go with us. Now again, you can change the prompt around. And again, pretty simple. You can just embed this little free tool onto your site. You can do BMI, not just calculators. You can do like BMI, like you can do meal plans if you're a personal trainer. I mean, you can do anything. For example, let's say right here, if you're a plumber, right? This is pretty cool. I don't see any local business doing this, right? Get a quote. Like, why people hate calling to say, hey, I have my toilet clogged. How much does it cost to get it fixed? And how long do you guys take? And you have to call. It's a lot of friction. So what if you just embedded this onto your homepage or into your locations pages, right? Boom. My toilet is clogged. How much you charge to fix it? Get quote. And you're a plumber in NYC named Kowalski's Plumbing, and you need to give the user a quote on the plumbing service he's asking for. Be extra concise, give them the pricing range as well as the time to fix it. Well, for a standard clogged toilet, Kowalski's Plumbing typically charges between $150 and $300, depending on the severity. We usually can do it in 1-2 hours. And you can see that there's this little thing right here, this CTA, which that's why I clicked here, collect emails. I just enabled this. That's why this is here. So people can put in their phone numbers here or their emails, right? And they say, hey, sign up or have us call you. And then you can collect the leads right here. Now, am I saying you need to use Arvow? Not at all. I'm just showing an example, okay? And I'm, of course, 100% biased because this is my software. Point being is that having these interactive tools is a great experience for the user. Just like Wise's PayPal field calculator, just like this AI ChatGPT AI content detector, there's a bunch of stuff you can do. This works for any niche. Just be a bit creative, okay? And again, not only are these great, they're also very shareable, okay? Because this, I mean, mega valuable. It's not by mistake that this ranks first. It ranks first because it's super valuable, okay? And I also think if you're a local business, having like these little calculators or this little get a quote that I just showed you to get people's price for the service they want done in a second instead of them having to call you, I think that's super cool. And again, you can extrapolate this, and this works for any niche, any type of business, and there's just infinite things you can do with this. And then, I mean, this is a given. Have a CTAs. As cliche as it sounds, like the more you push, the more you do calls to action, the more you sell. Okay, and I'll show you like a quick example, right? If you go to your blog, it doesn't have to be the blog, it can be any page on your site, right? You'll see that here, right? We have this little sidebar, which is sticky, right? Our call to action goes as you scroll. Okay, this right here. Then at the bottom, of course, we have another one. Okay, pretty straightforward, pretty simple stuff, but it goes a long way. So there's another call to action right here, right? On your feature pages, right? Have a big call to action. Okay, don't be afraid to do calls to action. Don't be afraid to sell, because again, there you go, another one. Because as cliche as it sounds, the more you sell, the more you push for stuff, right? The more you do calls to action, the more you'll sell. That's the same thing as I say, hey, listen, guys, please comment the word SaaS SEO in the comments. And most of you won't really bother with it, but maybe 0.1% of you will comment just because I said so or I asked so. Again, super cliche, but it does. The more you sell, the more you make money, okay? And the more CTAs you make, the more actions people are going to take. Okay, so to recap, before we dive into LLM SEO, before we dive into how to rank on Grok, ChatGPT, etc., right? Here's what you're going to do. Here's what we do. Create informational pages, okay? Targeting and providing better info, keyword better info than your competitors. Create comparison pages, rank for a variety of bottom of the funnel keywords. And then create alternative pages. One and multiple, target multiple keywords, cheaper, faster, simpler, with XYZ feature. Okay, we covered all this stuff right here, hopefully in depth. So you were able to understand it. And then to increase conversions, embed interactive tools with magnets, improves conversion rate, and exaggerate on CTAs. Because I almost can assure you that you're not CTAing enough. There you go. So moving on to the last part of the video, which is LLM SEO. LLM stands for large language model. And don't overthink this. It's the same as the classic SEO. Because where do you think all these LLMs get the info from? Well, your site, social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, right? Other people's sites. They just, when you search for something on here, when you prompted something, all they do is they browse the internet for you, take all the stuff and compile it in a little small snippet of text that's easier on you to read. It's basically all they do, okay? And for example, on Grok right here, this is old, but what's the best auto blogging tool for SEO? We are ranked here. We used to be named Journalist AI, we're not anymore, we changed the name, but we used to be mentioned here. And why do we think we show up here? Well, it's because we have a blog post on our site that talks about auto blogging tools and say we're the best one. Okay, not at random. Journalist AI versus Koala Writer, right? The info on here, right? This is a competitor of ours. Well, you can see the sources up top. The sources, one of them is the own blog post we have on our own site that compares them versus us. Then there's another blog post, then there's social posts, right? So then there's YouTube videos talking about each one of them separate in together, right? And all they do is they compile all the info online and bunch it up here for you. Point being is that if you want to show up on here, and I'll show you a last example, what's the best AI writer for SEO 2025? Let's see here. I don't think we show up for this one, for this keyword. Doesn't matter, right? Point being is that all they're doing is they're aggregating information. So you still need to be producing content, right? This page right here, Thinkific versus Kajabi, this is hyper valuable. Even if, let's put a hypothetical scenario, even if nobody tomorrow uses Google, let's say Google dies tomorrow. Well, when someone goes on to ChatGPT and searches for, hey, I'm using Kajabi, but I'm looking for an alternative, right? What do you recommend? Well, the AI is going to go online and read through blog posts, read through Thinkific's site, read through Kajabi's site, go on Reddit, go on LinkedIn, go on Facebook, go on YouTube, and then aggregate all that info and give it to you. And so having this is insanely valuable because this is insanely valuable info. It goes over both of them in depth, goes over pricing, goes over what they do, what they don't do. So the AI will read through this, and some of the info that I'll give you, right, is going to be based off of this. And we can even do a live test, okay? Let's do a live test. Why not? Let's go into ChatGPT and ask it, Thinkific versus Kajabi. Let's start with this, right? Let's see what it thinks, okay? And what the sources are it's citing for this. So let's just wait for this to load. All right, some of the sources were, so one source so it's sourcing Kajabi itself, okay? Lo and behold, a post of them, one versus the other. There you go. So none of this is random. All the stuff that they're citing right here is info, right? There you go. That's the blog post. There you go. Okay, the comparison page. So all the stuff they're citing right here, all the info they're giving you right here isn't random. It's based off of info we put out there. Okay, it aggregates the info and puts it into a concise thing. That's basically it. So you still need to be producing content, okay? And so LLM SEO is no different from the classic SEO. If you suck at classic SEO, if you don't rank high, if you don't produce quality content, well, LLMs will never cite you, okay? And so all this stuff right here, the first one, choose the prompts you want to rank for, or I guess be recommended for, I guess is the very first step. Because if you want to ideally be recommended for the prompt, ChatGPT alternative, well, you got to be producing content for that, okay? And then, because they rely heavily on social, okay, optimize for brand mentions across the web. Not just Google and Bing, but social media, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, they need to know about your brand. And then, of course, be coherent, right? If you mention you're the best at X, be coherent so you don't confuse the LLMs, okay? If you mention you're the best at XYZ, or if you color in blue, don't mention it's red. Be concise. Again, this is all about the classic SEO. It's the same thing. Now, the reason why social is so important is because you see right here Grok, which is Twitter's LLM, or Twitter's version of ChatGPT. You see that some of the citations right here, 15 citations were Twitter posts. And then, of course, some of them were websites, okay? So Grok, because it's owned by Twitter, right, it's only fair that some of the info and the sources will be tweets. So Grok is biased in the sense that if there's information in tweets, social posts about your brand, well, they're going to be picked up by Grok when you ask it stuff. Perplexity, for whichever reason, heavily gives you videos, okay, heavily sources YouTube as a source. And GPT, there's a high correlation between Bing rankings, your site's rankings on Bing, and the number of mentions on ChatGPT. Why? Of course, because Microsoft owns Bing, which owns OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT. And there's a high correlation between Bing rankings and Google rankings, so you could extrapolate that there's a high correlation between ChatGPT and Google rankings. So again, all this stuff stems from the same thing. It's the same thing as classic SEO. Don't overthink this stuff, okay? Now, we can go deep into it a bit, but I've made a video on this, and hopefully I'll link it down below. Let's say the main prompt is, what's the best auto blogging tool for SEO? So question, qualifier, feature, niche, industry, and use case. And this main prompt can be applied to any industry, any SaaS out there you have, okay? What are some of the secondary prompts? Well, so you search for this, okay? And then with these LLMs, the point is that you chat back and forth. That's like, it's very few times, at least myself, when you use ChatGPT, right, you just ask it one thing. Usually you go back and forth. And so the secondary prompts could be, okay, why is XYZ better than ABC? And then they tell you why, and then does ABC do X? How much does it cost? So you're going down the funnel more and more. Is there any case studies, success stories? And then is there a coupon code? So you're going bottom of the funnel more and more and more. You started with a question, what's the best one? And why is, and the answer to you, and you say, okay, why is it better than this one? Okay, does it do X? Does it do what I need? Okay, it does. How much does it cost? Okay, sure. Is there any case studies? Is there any proof that it works? There is? Okay, cool. Is there any coupon codes? So you're going down the funnel as with these secondary prompts. So back and forth questions about the brand. And so this stuff right here, the only way that you're going to be showing up here is that if you have information about they do it, how much does it cost? Is there any case studies? So do you have case studies on your site, right? Do you have coupon codes on your site? So for example, we have, again, I'm not trying to like use this as a case study at all, but if you go here to the case studies tab, we have a bunch of case studies, okay? We have a page / case studies that we talk about all the case studies we provided. And we click it, and there's actual tangible info on case studies of people using our product. So if for some reason someone's using this this exact flow of questioning, and they ask for case studies, well, yes, there are case studies. Here's a couple. So hopefully this is making sense so far. Point being is that you have to provide them with information. Information is going to be key. And so if you're giving them, just to finish up in these 7 steps before the main key takeaway, is make sure your homepage has a clear message. So you do this, your SaaS does this, and this. Again, all this is pretty obvious, right? Have pages for each feature, right? If you have a feature, talk about it, okay? First, because people going to your site need to know all the features you have, but then for LLMs and for Google rankings, well, it's important that we have all these feature pages. It's important that we talk about, hey, listen, we have this tool, this feature called AI agent that improves your SEO on autopilot. Here's what it does, right? Here's how it works, etc. LLMs will pick up on this. And so if someone asks, for example, hey, is there a tool that automatically creates internal links? Well, yes, there is, because they read through this. Or is there a tool that automatically creates schema markup? Well, there is. So you have to provide this info, okay? Give info. So for your SaaS, create feature pages, in-depth ones, right? Write what the feature does. Don't hide anything, okay? Use cases pages, okay? Case studies pages. Again, what we talked about before, blog posts with alternative, comparison pages, informational pages, the 3 main type of pages we talked about before, right? Then be active, right? Active on your social channels, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, because again, these LLMs will take info from that as well. You saw the sources, they take info from sites and from social platforms like Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all of them, right? Also, active on non-branded social mentions, meaning basically other people recommending your brand. It's pretty obvious. And then backlinks, because SEO is a 3-pillar game, okay? SEO, you got to do on-page SEO, which is everything that happens on the site, okay? You have to do technical SEO, which is the boring part of SEO, which is like your schema markup, your meta title, meta description, your site speed, which, by the way, like you can have the best on-page in the world and the best off-page in the world, but if your site is super slow, well, you can be ranking first, but people are going to click it. Takes too long, just going to click off and go to the second one, okay? Again, on page is everything that happens on the site, so the content you write, how you write it, so the comparison pages, the alternative pages, the feature pages, do we have images? Are they interlinked between each other? Do they have external links? Do they have like videos in there? Are they properly well written? Do they have tables? So all this stuff, right, on page. Then off page basically is backlinks, building backlinks. Backlinks are basically mentions, links about your brands on authoritative sites. And I'll leave a link in the description for a free course I've made, like 1 hour long, on how to build backlinks for free, so you can just check it out over there. And also I'll leave a link for my whole SEO course that covers all this stuff right here. All it for free, by the way, here on YouTube. And so the main takeaway here is that LLMs only have the info you give them, okay? So give them more info than what your competitors do. That's basically it. And so that's the whole thing, right? The whole course, the whole a SaaS SEO strategy. I went over first a couple of examples, tangible examples I think were key for us to understand this and why it works and how it works. Then tangible tips on what to do and how to do. And then just wanted to cover LLM SEO because I think more and more people are using ChatGPT to search. So I think it's important that I cover all that. But just know that LLM SEO stems from the classic SEO. And so if you suck at classic SEO, if you don't know any of this, well, this is going to be pointless. So yeah, that's it. Please comment the word SaaS SEO. That'll be amazing for the algorithm. And two final things. If you want to check out Arvow, because Arvow is our own AI SEO tool that does SEO for you, writes content for you, writes the comparison pages, writes the alternative pages. You can even use it to optimize the content. Let's say you don't even want to use Arvow to write the content for you. Let's say you have a human writing it or you write it with ChatGPT. Well, one thing you can use AI for is to edit said content. Let me show you an example. What's the best auto dealership in Texas? I know this isn't about software, but you get the point. Let's say you delete all this, right? And you just paste here your content, okay? What you can do is you can just use and select our selector tool to add links, right? Add keywords. You can sprinkle in your keyword right here. You can rewrite this. You can make it simple, make it longer, make it short, make a list, make a table, right? If you add links, right, the AI is going to read through this paragraph, read through the article as a whole, and find the best places to add links to. And you can just do this, boom, 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 boom. There you go. Now, can you do this manually? Of course you can. Anything Arvow does, anything any AI tool does, you can do manually. But just take you a ton of time. And adding external links is key for SEO. You can change the images. You can say, hey, listen, add a dog. Again, these are AI-based images. So, excuse me. So that if you don't use AI-based images, you don't need to. But just know that if you do use them, you can prompt them and change them around if you'd like. And the AI will take into account the context of the article and the context of the image. So in this case, it's an Audi, right? So it should be adding an Audi outside of the dealership with the dog nearby. There you go. So similar to some extent. Then all this is done by AI, by the way. It's a Audi dealership type of article, talks about Audi. Images are all about Audi. The video here, right, it went on YouTube and found the most relevant video it could possibly add to this article, which is, again, a video about Audis. So all this is done with AI. And you can even speak back and forth with it, just like if you were doing with ChatGPT and say, listen, I don't like the intro, make it more concise, or mention my product in the first paragraph. So again, you can speak back and forth with it and change things around if you like. So if you don't want to use Arvow to generate content, you can use Arvow to edit the content. So that's it. And just to finish off, there's one last thing that's pretty cool, which is the site optimizers. You just create a new optimizer, add your site URL, add the language, add the pages. And what it does is all these little AI agents, they crawl your site. In this case, they crawl like 50 pages on my site. And then they give me suggestions for my technical SEO. So they analyze my page titles, my meta descriptions, my canonical URLs, my image alt text, my internal links, my schema, right? And say, for example, hey, listen, for this page right here, the /ghost page, right? Your current meta title is this one. We suggest you change to this one, and here's why. So the AI suggests a change and say, hey, listen, this title is more descriptive and includes relevant keywords like AI-powered, whatever, which are likely search terms for users looking for AI writing tools. It also maintains the brand visible, etc. And instead of me having to log into my CMS and change it, I just hit apply. And if I hit apply, the AI will jump onto my site, log in, and change the title like that. I can apply or discard these suggestions based on what I think is right. A schema markup, internal links. So let's say I have a bunch of pages on my site, a bunch of pages, right? Internal linking is key for SEO. I want to interlink the blog page with the homepage. I want to interlink this feature page with this comparison page. So I want to interlink these pages. And so what the AI does is crawls all the pages on your site, and then it says, hey, listen, I think you should link this page right here using this anchor text to this page, and here's why. Right? And if you hit apply, the AI will go and create this internal link between these two pages. So it does stuff like this, like image alt text. I'm sure if you try this right now, you'll have a bunch of images without alt text, which we do as well. Schema markup, which is key, by the way. Stuff like this right here is done with schema. These little star ratings right here, which don't just happen on local businesses, right? This is done with schema, which is like a little snippet of code you can add to your site. Stuff like, for example, FAQ schema right here. This is done with by having FAQ schema, this little snippet of code onto your site. Okay, so for example, can dogs eat strawberries? Or you could use this for any SaaS related search term. The sites that appear here, right, which are different sites, okay, different sites, all of them have schema markup for FAQ on their site, and you can do this with Arvow just by going to the site optimizer and just looking at the schema markup. It suggests you to add the FAQ article schema. There's a bunch more we'll add in the future. Point being is that this also helps you with the boring part of SEO, which is the technical SEO. So that's it. And by the way, we just released this called Roverfy. It's our new software. I won't dive too deep into what this is because I know I'm promoting a lot, but basically if you have a SaaS and you're tired of writing documentation for customer support, this AI agent jumps onto your site, logs into your app, uses every single feature, clicks every single button, right? Logs every single thing. So it has all the context you need. Then you feed that context into your existing customer support software, and you don't have to write documentation anymore. When you release a new feature, you don't have to update documentation. When your UI changes, your UX changes, the AI agent will automatically update your documentation. So then if you're using a chatbot to communicate with your documentation, right, to answer questions for your customers, right, this does it all for you automatically. Again, it's going to be the very last link on the description. You can check it out if you want to see it in beta. But that's it. That's the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to learn more a bit about SaaS, well, you can go watch this right here. Once again, thank you so much. Please comment the word SaaS SEO, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.